In this video, we're going to walk through the triggers feature inside of Pluto. So first off, what are triggers? Well, triggers are if-then rules that can be used to trigger actions or automations when specific events occur. They're pretty easy to build, but they can be extremely powerful tools. So in a moment, I'm going to let you watch me build a trigger live. But first, let's discuss the difference between global triggers and my triggers. My recommendation for most agencies is to use global triggers. Global triggers are designed to be used by teams rather than an individual agent. So if you build a global trigger, it's going to be shared with all team members in your account. Now, global triggers are convenient because it allows admins to go through, build out all the triggers one time, rather than having to duplicate the process with each new team member they add. All right, so now what are my triggers? If you have an agent on your team that wants to create their own unique triggers that are separate from the rest of the team, then this is the option they would use. My triggers are only visible to the user that creates them. Now, with that out of the way, let's put some triggers. So we're on the triggers page right here. How did I find it? I came over to marketing and then triggers. Now you can see in my account, I have quite a few triggers built out. Let's go ahead and build some from scratch. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit new trigger right here, and I'm going to give it a name. Name it something that makes sense to you based off whatever type of function you're trying to accomplish. I'll just call this sales trigger. Now you can decide right here, is it going to be a my trigger or a global trigger? And then if you want to kind of organize your triggers into folders, you do so as well. All right, now we're in the building process. There are a seemingly endless number of triggers that you can build inside of Pluto. If you can dream up an idea, you could probably build a trigger for it. Now on the left side here, we're going to choose our trigger. A trigger is your if statement. So if this happens, then I want Pluto to do this. If you click the drop-down button here, you're going to see a ton of different options. On the right side is where we're going to select our action. An action is your then statement. Again, if I click the drop-down, you're going to see a whole bunch of options to choose from. Let's take a look now at some of my favorite triggers. So let's go ahead and open up this side, my if statement. And in this example, I'm going to choose contact tag. So this trigger is going to be activated when a tag is added to a contact record. So if I add a tag to a contact, then Pluto will do anything I choose in this section. Let's go ahead and choose that there. Now I can filter this out if I like to. I could say, this will fire if a tag is added, or it could also fire if a tag is removed. Choose the tag that we want to use here. Let's just I'll grab a test tag. All right, so we got the if side set up. Now let's go to the then side. So this is our action. If this happens, I want Pluto to do any one of these things. So maybe if I add a contact tag, I want that to automatically send out a text to someone. Or maybe I want adding a tag to trigger adding that contact to a campaign or removing them from a campaign. You can see there's all kinds of options here. Let's look at another trigger example. We'll go back over here. And this time I'm going to choose customer booked appointment. Now this trigger is going to be activated when a contact books an appointment with me. If someone books an appointment with me, then Pluto will do, again, whatever I choose over here on the action side. Before I do that, I'm going to put a filter on here, and I'm going to find my calendar. There it is. And this is the calendar event that I want to trigger the automation. Now you can create as many different calendar events as you want. All right, now that I got this set up, let's go to the action here. So when someone books an appointment with me, I want Pluto to do one of these things. Again, maybe I want to add someone to a campaign when they book an appointment with me. That sends follow-ups or reminders or kind of sends them video emails that talks about the products and services I offer. That would be an option. Maybe I just want to send them a simple text saying, hey, I got you on my calendar, can't wait to meet. Maybe I want to add a note to their contact record. Maybe I want to update where they are in my deals pipeline. So lots of different options you can choose from right here. Here's another favorite trigger of mine. Pipeline stage changed. All right, here we go. Now this trigger will be activated when I move a contact from one pipeline stage to another. So if I was in my deals pipeline and I took a contact and I started moving it through my different stages, that could trigger automations. So pipeline stage changed. Now I'm going to apply some filters here. So first I got to tell Pluto which pipeline I want to monitor for this trigger. And I'll say my sales pipeline in this example. And what stage? Let's say I move someone to the new lead stage. What do I want Pluto to do? And the most common thing that I choose here is I will say add them to a campaign. And then I can just come through and choose the campaign I want to put them on. Now, of course, there's tons of other options as well. If you want to add a tag, you want to add an activity, a note in the system, so many options. Now, one thing I will mention here is you can actually stack your triggers as well. So in this example here, the pipeline stage changed and I added someone to a campaign. But I could also say, you know what, let's go ahead and add a note to their contact record. And when we're done with that, I also want to add a tag to their account. So lots of different things can be done here. But if you know there's multiple steps that you want to accomplish, you can just stack them right here. All right, I'll share one last example, and then we'll close out this video. Now, this trigger is deal won or lost. In this example, my trigger is going to be marking a deal as won or lost on my sales pipeline. So I'm marking it as won or lost, or I'm dragging it down here to one of these options. I'm going to add a filter once again. Tell Pluto which pipeline it is that this trigger is associated with. I'll choose my sales pipeline again. And in this scenario, I'll say if I win a deal, I want Pluto to do one of these actions. Now, personally, what I do is I add people to a campaign. So I would come over here, say add to a campaign, and choose the campaign that I want to put them on. Now, if I just want a deal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on a new client welcome campaign that sends out a series of emails and texts and videos welcoming them to the agency, telling them how to get in contact with us, what do they do if they have a claim, just dripping out a sequence of messages that make sense and welcome them to our agency. So that's a very popular one that I use. On the flip side, you can come over here and say, well, what if you lose a deal? Same type of thing. A lost deal it's not lost forever. There's always a chance to reach out and win that customer down the road. So what I would say is really similar scenario. I'm probably going to add them to a campaign. And in this scenario, it's going to be some type of X state or long-term follow-up campaign. So as you can see, there are a whole lot of options in the trigger section. When you're done building out your triggers, though, make sure, number one, you save them up here. And then also you turn that trigger on. If you have any questions on triggers, you know where to reach us.